Well, once we realized that carbs could cause obesity through this explained why a low carb diet was so effective. And if you go on a low carb diet or a keto diet, you're going to block both the fructose you eat and the fructose you make. And that's why you can go on a high fat diet and you won't get fat. So a high fat, high protein diet. But we also realized that salt and low oxygen, there are these different things that can activate this enzyme that could convert glucose to sorbitol. And we know that animals like salt, and it's been associated, salt licks it's sodium chloride salt licks that count, and they actually, your animals will eat it before winter, and it helps them gain weight. And in fact, some groups give salt to try to stimulate weight gain in domesticated animals. When we put animals on salt, and we were able to put salt in the drinking water, we had to add a little sucralose, but we had sucralose in the controls, and sucralose does not cause weight gain or obesity or metabolic syndrome. But anyway, we found that when we gave salt, that it took a longer time. It's like instead of 3 weeks to become leptin resistant, really it was like 3 months. But eventually the animals really became fat. I mean, like really fat. They became diabetic. They became hypertensive. They developed a lot of these findings. And if we blocked fructokinase, even if they ate all the same amount of salt, they did not develop metabolic syndrome, and they didn't develop high blood pressure, and they were protected from cardiac hypertrophy. In fact, what we learned was that the way salt works is through this pathway, that it's not about the amount of salt, it's about the bringing the salt concentration up in the blood, and then that activating this pathway. And in fact, we did studies, I won't show them, but you can give salt to people, and if you give salt, blood pressure goes up. If you give salt with water so that osmolality doesn't change, they don't get high blood pressure. And we did this too. We also found that fructose also increases serum osmolality. It's dehydrating. It actually shifts water into the cells with glycogen formation. And if we gave water, we could actually suppress some of this weight gain. And we could suppress this pathway. So then we also started thinking about umami foods. And if you look on the far left here, you'll see that when ATP is degraded to make uric acid, it makes AMP and IMP. And so this is part of the pathway that we've identified that drives obesity. But when you eat monosodium glutamate, which is this flavor that causes the savory flavor of umami, it gets converted into AMP and to uric acid. And in fact, if you put MSG, which is, this additive to make food taste better, it's like commonly used in Chinese restaurants. When it's added, animals will start drinking more and more of it. They like it, and they suddenly become leptin resistant, and they start eating more. Their uric acid goes up, their ATP levels fall. What we now know is that it's a complicated pathway where sugar can provide fructose or glucose that can be converted to fructose. Salt can accelerate this. Low water intake can accelerate this. That umami can come in and join in this pathway here.